Welcome, everyone. We're so excited that you're joining us. Like I said, this is the Innovative Women in Leadership virtual event series, something that's near and dear to my heart, of course, as a woman leader. So we're excited to have everyone in attendance who is also a woman leader or supports women in leadership. So thanks for joining us today. Today, we're going to talk about how to find your professional circle. Such an important topic as you're building out your career to ensure that you're furthering your success and the success of those around you. Before we get started today, I want to just remind you to join the conversation on social media. And if you are on LinkedIn, on Twitter, on Instagram, go in and use these hashtags. Use hashtag TE virtual events, hashtag TEVE. Like I say, this is must see TEVE. So use that hashtag, and also use our Women in Leadership hashtag, our hashtag Innovative Women in Leadership, or hashtag I will with one L. Make sure you're using those. If you're having any watching parties with your other female leaders, take a picture of yourself. Use our hashtags. We'd love to see it. Now I want to introduce you to our speaker today. I'm so excited to have Ella Bates here with us. I met Ella at our Thoughtexchange event that we did in Toronto recently, and we immediately connected. We were lucky enough to sit at the same table, and I just knew I wanted to profile her leadership on this series. So Ella is a firewalker. If she wasn't impressive enough, she's also a firewalker. She's a passionate learning expert, a master trainer, a renowned dynamic and energizing speaker who has continually proven to be an industry leader for high quality, guaranteed learning with her developed corporate trading success formula. Is it training times 3, Ella?
Training X3 times 3. Call it what you want.
Okay, I like it. She's the creator of the Learning Journal, the newest way to take powerful notes and take massive action from your learning. She's also a busy mom of 2, and she loves to learn about neuroscience, belly dancing, and swim. Wow, you are certainly well-rounded, Ella. Welcome. We're so excited to have you.
Thank you. Great to be on here. Thanks for inviting me, Angela. Appreciate it.
Of course. Okay, so what we're going to chat about today, guys, we're going to talk about the importance of finding the right professional circle. We're going to talk about how to cultivate and nurture that circle once you're in it, once you've found it. And then, of course, what should you do if you find yourself in the wrong circle? The format for today, of course, the first 20 to 25 minutes, Ella and I will have a discussion surrounding these 3 topics that I've just outlined. And then we're going to open it up to you guys. We're going to want to hear from you. What questions, what thoughts do you have from Ella? I've got a secret for you. I think she may be asking you before we get to that portion. So that's good to know. But we're going to be able to use Thoughtexchange so that you can join the conversation with us, which we really are looking forward to. And speaking of that, why don't you go ahead and just jump into the chat. Let us know where you're joining us from and what you're hoping to get out of today. So I think that would be good for us to go ahead and do that before we get started. Does that sound good, Ella?
Yeah, perfect.
Okay, lovely. All right, so welcome, Ella. I'm so glad you're joining us, and you're on the East Coast right now, but you're on the West Coast. Talk to me a little bit about what a professional circle is and why it's important that we cultivate it.
Great question, great topic. Well, it's very, very close to my heart. You've all heard of the phrase, no man is an island, right? We do
or woman, right,
or woman, yes, you're right.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
But we do really badly when we're isolated from other people and we're not surrounded by this kind of sense of love and belonging and that connection. It's a basic human need, and we really, really, we forget about nurturing this side of our lives, definitely professionally and personally as well. If you look at social media, we're very much starved of actual real connections, like who resonates with this, like started that absolute authentic connection of the law of reciprocity, that really giving value and gaining value back as a result. And it is something that, you read about a lot, Angela, and I need a professional circle. Yeah, I need a network. But do you actually go off and do it is something different. But when you do, the power that you get from having a dedicated professional circle is just phenomenal. I mean, like, for example, if it was to ask you the question, how you're stretching your mind, for those people, I mean, we've got a plethora of people on today. One of those things that you're already doing now is reaching out to other people like you, Angela, who are putting on these events. I want to stretch my mind. I want you to be part of my circle. I want to know that you're able to provide me with this great value, and you're also a really inquisitive person too, and you're curious, and you're you know, you and I have had these conversations, you're ready to learn and grow yourself as a professional. So this whole reciprocity, this reciprocal relationship is massive.
Yeah.
But the key is, and the key word a lot of times we forget, is that it's a circle, right? It's got, to your point, it's got to be nurtured and played with and you know, really, really enhanced upon and fertilized, if you like. If you look at it like, you know, they've got this beautiful garden full of all these wonderful flowers. Let's keep it fertilized. Let's keep it on the go, because you know what happens if you forget about a plant. It, you know, like down here, I've got a nice fake plant, but then I have a nice aloe vera next to it. You know,
That's really great. I'm curious to know, you're talking about, you know, that position of reciprocity, and you've got to really fertilize it.
yeah,
And how that cultivating that is different than this isolation that you may feel if you're only cultivating it in this virtual world of social media.
right.
And so I guess I want to dig into this, no pun intended, with our garden analogy here, but do you feel that social media helps you define it and build it and enhance it, but it shouldn't be the only place, or does it have to be in person? I'm curious to know your thoughts on what this professional circle, like physically or not physically, looks like.
So it really depends on what you're looking for. Some people really love the face-to-face. I'm one of those people. You know, like, tell us in the chat, are you an absolute face-to-face person? However, there's so many ways through social media, like Zoom that we're on right now, Facebook video, you know, LinkedIn chat, like, you know, I don't want to sit here and kind of promote all these other companies, but the reality is you and I are on different time zones right now, and you and I are able to build a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
We are still doing the face-to-face, and it might not be in person. I mean, how many times have you had a business meeting, but you actually feel really connected because there's still that connection? I can see you, I can see your body language, I can see, you know, how interested, how disinterested you are, all these different kind of things.
Mm-hmm.
I can see here already popping on the chat, people love virtual face-to-face. Yeah, it's something that's really booming, and thank goodness for it. Like, we can at any time right now, you can, anywhere in the world, you can see exactly what's happening through a webcam. Like, it's just phenomenal. So the people that you need to have the face-to-face relationships are maybe the local people.
Yeah.
You might find that you're okay with meeting once a month online. It might be just chatting, literally through chat as well. But are you looking for a pen pal, or are you really looking to build that relationship? Jump on the phone, have a you know, my business coach calls it a telly tea.
Oh, I love that.
Oh, you love that. So like us right now, like we both got tea,
Yeah.
you know, like show us, are you drinking your tea, a coffee, whatever it is? You know, I know it's early morning in Vancouver, it's afternoon, but have a telly tea, have a conversation where you'd normally meet in a coffee shop. So it doesn't have to be something super structured, but it also can be too. It depends really what you're looking for as a person and in your circle too.
Yeah, I love that. I think what you're describing is that you should be fostering a professional circle in both ways, you know, utilizing the tools available to you, and not just doing the phone thing, not just doing the chat thing, but making sure you're making an effort to connect so you can see someone's face, and the way that you're able to connect in that way so you can see their body language and how they're reacting to it, I think really deepens that reciprocity that you are saying is so vitally important for this professional circle. So talk to me a little bit about what's the best way to find your circle, your professional circle. How should we be growing this?
Right. So again, like a garden. Angela, do you have a favorite flower?
Probably a hydrangea.
Right. So my favorite flower isn't an hydrangea, but it's a tulip, right? So for both of us, we need and we like to look at different things. For some people, it might be, you know, attracting the hummingbirds. It might be attracting the butterflies and the bees, which is a great thing. Let's save the bees. Anyway, it's the same in your circle. You might find that you need, in order for you to keep dynamic in your profession, if that's what you want, you're going to want to have really dynamic people in your circle. If you find that you're really dynamic, but you're not very reflective, you're going to start bringing in some really reflective people into your circle to balance you out. You might want people who are, I know for me, I like to have people who are good risk assessors. I don't like to, although I'm very impromptu, I recognize that one of my weaknesses is I need to step back and go, hang on a second, let's do a bit of a SWOT analysis. You know, what's going to be great about this? What's not so great? What are the obstacles? And sometimes you just need that other person to go, ooh, have you thought of this? let me just wear this little bit of a negative hat or positive hat or creative hat, or right, playing that devil's advocate for you. Some people need that. So really it depends on what do you need to enhance your version of you to make you an even better version, right? Because in this circle, you are then complementing each other. I mean, Magdalena's just popped up there. Just as I say it, like that's synchronicity right there. It's that concept of complementing each other. So where you might have the reflection and I might be the dynamic, we're both going to have that law of reciprocity. We're going to be able to both give and gain from each other. So what are you looking for?
Yeah, I think that that's really great, Ella, because I think what you're suggesting then is that you really have to start with some amount of self-awareness and self-reflection.
Right.
What are my strengths? Where are my opportunities for growth? And now that I am aware of those things, now I can start to seek out those who complement those areas that I want to develop or that I either can't develop. And if I can't, that's okay, because in my professional circle, I've got people who can help me with that space. Yeah.
There's two key things to add to that, Angela. You're absolutely right. First of all, success leaves clues. Go and find other people who are doing what you want to be awesome at and bring them into your circle, because I bet you bottom dollar that you're doing something that they would love to be able to do really well too. And in that, what's very, very important is that you actually reflect on what do you have to give. What can I give to you as my circle? So Angela, if I want you in my circle, I'm going to say, here's what I can give you. I've had 21 years experience of doing this. These are my strengths. I'm dynamic and energetic. I mean, this is decaf tea. I don't need the caffeine for my energy, right? I'm a real visionary. I'm this, I'm that. This is the things that I can give you. You might say, wow, that's tools that I'm missing from my toolbox. Come into my circle, right? Because I can also give you this that you're lacking in. And it's just a beautifully beneficial, complementary circle.
So this begs the question then, Ella, do you make an invitation to your professional circle that formal? Do I go to you as a person and say, hey, you have the strengths that I feel like I'd like to grow or that I'd like to cultivate. Would you be part of my professional circle? Or how do you is it that formal? Is it informal? What do you think about how we approach that?
Well, I think that's a question of authenticity.
Right.
Because I actually do use those words. I want you in my circle. Be part of my circle. And people are like, yeah. Like I have, like people I reached out to this morning who are part of my circle who I know love this kind of topic, love learning from other women and leadership, and I know have value to gain as well through this thought exchange we're going to do in a few minutes. And I actively went to my circle. Hey, circle, like, come on down, like, be part of this. And they're like, yeah, you know, some of them are my cheerleaders. So it's how you position it. You could literally have like LinkedIn, for example, you adding a note, hey, I would love for you to be part of my network. You know, I want to learn more about what you do. I have some value I can give to you. That's very formal. But even if, you know, like you and I meeting at the Thoughtexchange in Toronto, we're like, let's keep in touch. Yeah, keeping in touch is being part of a circle. And the more you cultivate that, like you and I have, we've had some great conversations. I've, you know, stolen ideas from me. You've stolen ideas from you. It's been really valuable. And now we're here sharing it with other people. Like, one of the best things about connection and knowledge is actually passing it on to others who pass it on to others. And, you know, this has this huge domino effect. So I think you can be super formal with it, but it's about authenticity.
Yeah,
doesn't sit with you, don't do it like that. Yeah.
yeah. Practice what feels comfortable for you.
Right.
Yeah, I love that though, because I think it actually sets that person up. If you are really open with someone and say, I want to invite you into my professional circle, I appreciate what you have to give, and I think that I have some good things to give to you. I think that helps just set the tone of the relationship moving forward, and everybody knows how they're going to help each other and learn from each other. And so it seems to say formal, but really it's just a matter of managing expectations in a positive way as you move
absolutely
forward.
hugely. Yeah. And I just think of all these incredible people out there that you can have access to very, very quickly, like through things like LinkedIn, through things like this, you know.
We're so lucky to live in a time where we're able to not be confined to a professional circle within just the place that we live.
Right.
You know, technology enables us to create a huge professional circle around the globe. So you can find yourself anywhere in the world and go, you know what, I bet somebody from my circle's here. And what a benefit that is.
Right. And so imagine the connection that you can do too. So somebody says to me one day, you know, I'm really looking for somebody who can be a speaker at my San Francisco event. I've just got the person.
Yeah, that's
right? And you can be a
exactly.
great connector. And maybe that's what you need in your circle. Maybe you need a connector. Maybe you're new to a country, to an industry, to a thought, a diversity of thought. And that's the other thing about professional circle too. You have these perspectives and belief systems, and all of a sudden you have this diversity of thought that broadens your mind. It opens it up to possibilities and opportunities that you never in a million years thought was even available to you. Like, everybody's exposed to lots of different opportunities that we should be sharing.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, a lot of people spend hundreds of thousands of dollars to get into like continuing education courses or doing things
Yeah.
like master's programs. And really, if they just tap into the resources available in their circle, they have this diversity of thought and these skills available to them. And that costs them nothing but a
Right?
good conversation and nice connection.
Or you can just reinvent the wheel. Who wants to do that? But hands up, how many of us have reinvented the wheel? Like as a business owner trying to figure out social media, or as as a family member trying to figure out how to get into the to parenting circles and things like that. Go and ask someone who's already got a circle. How do I get in there? I want to
Right.
be part of this. Where do I find it in my community? Ask the questions, and all of a sudden you've got a circle.
Yeah.
Right? Like it attracts like. I heard, and I have to quote this lady because she very much gave me a massive awareness of professional circles, and that's Jenny McKee from Creating Inspirations. And she told me that your vibe attracts your tribe. And I love that. And I quote it all the time. Sorry, Jenny, I'm stealing your quotes all the time. Your vibe attracts your tribe. And, if you're putting out their energy of, I want to be surrounded by dynamic people, well, guess what's going to happen? I know
Yeah.
people like you, Angela, going, oh, I want to be part of that too. And before you
Yeah.
know, we've got Amelia and all sorts of other wonderful people from Thoughtexchange now part of a circle. Like, how cool is that?
I love that. Just yesterday we did the virtual event about your brand and how you have to put some attention to it. And I think that it totally aligns with what you're saying. That these things really fit together. Once you know who you are and what you want to attract, put it out there to the world, and then you'll get it back. And that'll be really
Hugely.
great. Yeah, I
Yeah,
love that.
hugely.
So, okay, now let's talk about what you do if you find yourself in the wrong circle. You put your head up and you're looking around and you're like, actually, this is not where I want to be. I need to expand, or I need to make some changes. What should you do if you find yourself in that position?
Well, the fact that you've recognized it is huge, because
Okay.
sometimes we don't. We just get very comfortable, and that's just the way people are. And we don't realize what a massive effect other people can have on us.
Mm-hmm.
It's called relationship toxicity. And there's a lot of toxicity, and there may be people and yourself can be the biggest obstacles to your success in life, whether that's
Mm-hmm.
looking for a beautiful life, beautiful career, beautiful relationship. And it's knowing that what is the effect and the impact. The intention might be good, which 99% of the time it is.
Right.
But for example, you may have the Debbie Downers. We all know the Debbie Downer. Oh, that's not gonna. Are you sure you want to spend that amount of money on that? Do you really want those shoes? Should you really ask for that promotion? And these are people who don't have great self-esteem
Mm-hmm.
themselves, or they are feeling very competitive. And it's recognizing who they are, but also recognizing. And again, I stole this from another great person, Nicole. She told me, "Hi, Nicole, if you're watching, and Jenny. Sorry, I should shout out to people that I'm actually quoting here. I am no way affiliated with them. Just a disclaimer there. Um, hey, it's always good to be clear on that.
Yeah, cover
She
yourself,
said
Ella. I like it.
there's people for a reason, people for a season, and people for a lifetime. And you might have that reciprocal connection and sharing between each other, and all of a sudden you don't have that. In fact, you might be on a level playing field. In fact, you might even be so far ahead of them in career trajectory, in friendship, or anything or any goal that you're trying to achieve, that no longer are you serving each other. And it's okay to say, you know what, I think this connection's just not working for me. And that's okay to do that and walk away, and being really professional and respectful about that. Best of luck on your journey. I just don't think we're giving to each other anymore, and let's walk away. It's like any relationship, right? Don't stay there.
Wow, I really love what you
Right.
just said. I want to highlight it. There are people there for a reason, people for a season, and
Mm-hmm.
people for a lifetime. And I think
Yeah.
what a great way to start to kind of give yourself that self-reflection. Go through your professional circle that as it stands right now, and start maybe bucketing people. Are these people here for this reason? Are these people here for just this season? Are these people here for a lifetime? I think having that kind of assessment as you start to really put some conscious effort around building your professional circle is a great place to start.
Right. And that's, so you almost want to do a needs analysis,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
Who's my direct circle? Your success is absolutely defined by the environment that you're in, which includes the people, and those people who are inspiring you and encouraging you to have different perspectives and belief systems, etc.
Right.
What you really want to do is have a look at, here's where I'm lacking. Here's what's stopping me from having this exceptional, we don't want standard, right? Exceptional life in my profession, in my personal life, sports life, whatever it is that you have the circle around. Right. And here's the gaps. And do I have the right people filling it? And if not, where am I going to find them? Let's jump on LinkedIn. Let's go to these networking things. Let's go to trade shows. Let's all these different places I can network and find these people, invite them in. Come be part of my circle. I would love to learn from you. And as a result of that, I have all this that I can give you too. Like, what a wonderful, receptive relationship that is.
I think that that's so great. I think that you're right. Not only do you just grow as a person by building this professional circle and cultivating this professional circle, you're also going to have some, I think, career benefits, right? You're going to make connections. A lot of times you talk about, like, as you want your career to grow, all of these people who you've connected with aren't just helping you grow as a person, they're helping you grow your career.
Hugely. Massively. And again, connecting you and giving you the right tools in the toolbox for whatever your goals are at the time. And it might be something as simple as, I want to learn Excel better, or it might be, I want to go from director to VP. Like, it can be small or huge. These people can help carry you. And they are a cheerleading system. So for every time you're celebrating by yourself is very nice. I have my London Fog tea here as my celebration today for halfway through the day. It's kind of my treat. But isn't it nice to share that tea with other people and go, yay, cheers to that. Look what I've achieved today. Look at how close I am to my goals, or look at how sunny it is outside. Whatever it is you're celebrating, when you celebrate it with more people, that energetic positivity can just lift you to places that you just cannot get to by yourself.
Yeah, I love that, Ella. I think you're right. You've given us a ton of really good advice on what to do. I'm curious, is there anything we shouldn't be doing? Anything that maybe we are doing that we should stop if we're wanting to build and cultivate this professional circle?
That's a really good question. And you're right. There is things that we need to be very mindful of. That's, connecting with everybody. Yeah. Oh, someone likes me on LinkedIn. Connect. Facebook, Twitter, whatever it is. Like, you don't need to. You can be really select. This is your life. You're the captain of the ship, right? You are the CEO of your beautiful life. Invite into it people who you want in there. If people want into your circle, you're not the right person for them. Maybe connect them with someone else. You know what? I'd love you in my circle, but I don't think that what I have to give you is as valuable as you need. Hey, have you thought about contacting Joan? I'm going to connect you over LinkedIn, right? There's ways of doing that, but don't accept everything from everybody, right? Just because it looks, back in the day when all these social media started, it was very nice. It's like, oh, I have 1,000 friends. Look at me. But how many of them really add value to your life? And how many of them are you adding value to? Really? If you take stock. So, and that can make us feel even more disconnected because, I have these 1,000 connections on LinkedIn, but I'm not getting value from anyone, and all I'm doing is giving out too. You can be in depletion. So be select on who you're sharing your goals and your inspirations with, and your ideals and your challenges and your struggles. Be very, very select. It's not a spray and pray method. No.
Spray and pray. I love it. You're really saying quality, not quantity. And
Thank you. That's the much professional way of putting it. You're right.
That's what I'm saying, ladies and gentlemen. No, I think that you're right, though, Ella. That I think it's easy to get into that trap that you go, oh, this is my professional circle. It's 20,000 people big. Look how valuable this circle is. But really, if you have a really core group in your professional circle that are really complementing your needs and your strengths and your weaknesses, like you've described, I think that is far more valuable.
Right.
I think that's really good advice. What I'd like to do now, before we open up the discussion to everyone, which has been so lively in the chat so far, I'm super excited. What can leaders that are listening today, what can they start doing today? As soon as they get off the thing, as soon as they get off the virtual event, to start building their professional circle? Good
question. So here's what I would do. I would always after these kind of webinars, any learning experience, take some time to reflect. Might only be 5 minutes. Just sit and think, I'll learn from that. But think about, who is it who's inspiring you right now? Who is it who you admire? And why is it you admire them? And do you have anything to give to them? Right? And it might just be a social aspect that you're giving to them. It might be something professionally, it might be something personally, it might just be a thought process that you have, or your connections, or what have you. And reach out to them and say, you know what, I really admire you. Thank you for the value that you give. You know, I'd love for you to be in my professional circle. Just reach out to one person and watch what happens, and watch what happens when you actually nurture that relationship. And that might just be something as simple as, I got a thank you card just the other day. Oh, it's at home, it's not here in my office. From somebody we connected on LinkedIn. We were chatting so much. I'm like, oh, I've really got a lot to do today, but let's have a telephone conversation at 4:00. We got on the phone. We did a Zoom call like this, and it was really, really cool. And I sent her a card afterwards and said, yeah, I learned so much from that conversation, just professionally, bouncing ideas off each other and looking at where each other are networking and all sorts of wonderful things. And I sent a card like, how nice is that? Just let's start connecting. Let's get the human back into us and out of the process. Let's just start connecting with people. Let's get re-energizing the planet. Come on, people.
You know what, Ella, and I think that this really speaks to you and who you are as a person. And I just love this advice, because what I honestly kind of expected was for you to sit down or for you to advise us to sit down and go, who's in my circle and what can they give me? Who's valuable for what? That would be the first thing. But instead, what you advised us to do was to sit down and think about what we can give.
Oh, yeah.
What we can give and how we can appreciate. And I just really can't even just appreciate that more about you. So I just want to
thank
I don't
you.
know what I can give you yet, Ella, but I totally appreciate that advice. That's really great. Okay, I'd like to open up the exchange. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen right now, and Amelia's going to pop a link to the exchange here in the chat, so you've seen that. And I'm going to get us on the right link. Here we go. Here's the QR code, guys. We're going to look at this together. You can either click on the link that Amelia's posted in there, or you can open up your mobile device, zoom in on the QR code, something will pop down, click through, it'll take you right into the exchange. The question we have for today's exchange are, what thoughts or questions do you have for Ella? All you have to do is agree to the privacy terms, letting you know that we're not going to be sharing your thoughts with anyone but each other. Go in there, share some thoughts, some questions, feedback for Ella. As soon as we have that done, we'll go through with Ella and she'll answer some of these questions. In order for you to participate, I'm going to need to be quiet, which I'm going to do right now, and give you a few minutes to do that. So go ahead and get started, and I'm going to participate too. Okay, guys, thanks for sharing and starring. Let's go ahead and ask Ella all of these important questions. I saw this question when I was rating, and I thought, oh, I'm excited to hear what she has to say about this. Do you have any suggestions for people who are not normally social or outgoing? Are there smaller steps they can take to connect and grow their community? I think this is important because you and I, as extreme extroverts,
right?
So we often forget, what about people who are not extroverted? How do they make a conscious effort to grow their community?
So like we said before, first of all, this is a great question. I don't know who's asked it because it's confidential, obviously, but this is a great question. No, not everyone's extrovert. Thank goodness. Thank goodness they are not. We need some really shy, reflective, deep thinking people, and then we need the crazy people that take action and very visionary like us. We need every type of personality to start off with. And nobody's expecting to be all like, hey, here I am, be part of my professional circle. The beauty of all these medias available to us right now, Angela, is that through LinkedIn, you can just have a conversation. Through email, you can have a conversation. Through MailChimp now, you can have conversations. There's all these wonderful software. Through here, we're having conversations. You guys who are not extrovert are asking questions. You're still being assertive. And it doesn't all have to be done by, a big dynamic night out. It can be done just having coffee. Just go and have a conversation. Spark up interest. Crack a smile at a trade show. Let's say, for example, you're in an industry-specific mixer, for example, and I'm sure there's people out there who are thinking, oh gosh, I hate those. I want to be the wallflower, and that's okay too. Just having a smile or nodding your head, looking interested. If you want people to find you interesting, you have to be interested. I'm going to say that again. If you want to be seen as interesting, you have to be looking to be interested. Dale Carnegie, my favorite book of all time, How to Win Friends and Influence People, talks about that a lot. Just look interested and authentically, right? But if you're saying something and think, wow, that's really interesting, nodding your head. We are always attracted to like for like. So, oh, you found that interesting too. Me too. Let's open up a conversation about that. Let's take this offline. Let's have a dialogue. Let's have a tea. Let's just meet over the phone. Let's just text. Let's email. Let's just have a conversation. It's okay not to be social and outgoing in this day and age. Thank goodness we have people like you. So don't change who you are.
I love
Keep doing
that.
what you're doing.
You have so many golden nuggets there, Ella. You know, in order to seem interesting, you have to be interested. I think that's great. I think that there's this perception, especially like in a trade show or really any kind of social situation. It seems we have to do this grandiose gesture.
Oh,
I'm interesting. You should be interested in me. But really, a smile, a nod. There are also people in those social situations who are looking for someone who isn't doing this because
I might be the worst person for your circle. I might exhaust you. For other people, I'm going to energize you, right? You almost have to come up with a job description. Who should be in my circle? In fact, I was told to literally write a job description once for my circle. Who do you want in it? What kind of personalities?
That's great. That's so great. Okay. As a remote worker who doesn't travel for work, I find it hard to even know where to go to connect with other people.
That's tough. One of the beauties of being able to work from home is that silence and being able to focus and stuff. But again, we're starved of that connection. Having great leaders in your organization that understand that you need that connection still is definitely key. And reaching out to your leader and saying, you know, I still want to stay connected. Do you have any suggestions? And that might just be, oh gosh, that could be something as simple as, you know, sending an emoticon of how you feel that day to each other over instant message or anything. But if you are wanting to leave your place of work, whether that's in your home office or in an actual office itself, a traditional office, if you like, look out. LinkedIn, again, great place. Like here, you're hanging out here right now. There's probably people chatting right now who actually have a sidebar conversation. I mean, obviously wait until we're done here, but you've probably opened up a sidebar conversation and thought, wow, what she says is really interesting. I really like to delve deep into that. Like, you can stay connected online too. There are summits, there are webinars, there are thought exchanges like this. Then there's lots of different events. Go on Eventbrite and type in what interests you and find those events and put yourself out there. It's not always about just during the workday. And even I've had conversations with people in the grocery store about, you know, they've seen maybe my logo or, you know, I'm dressed professionally. They are too. How's your day? Oh, great. Oh, I'm a teacher. Oh, are you? That's really interesting. And opened up a conversation. Oh, well, actually, I'm also an adult educator and I also work in higher education. You do? Yeah. And you know, this pedology really, really fascinates me. God, let's have a conversation. Here's my card. Let's have tea. Like, it's just make it organic. You don't have to be all like, I'm going to go and find my circle now. Let's go on the hunt for myself. It's not about that. Like, allow it to be organic, but you've got to put yourself out there.
Yeah. I think that's great. I love that. I love that you were talking about Eventbrite. That was going to be my suggestion, is that, you know, seek out things that interest you outside of your professional space. If you're really into comics or you're really into movies or cars, whatever the case may be. A lot of times when people connect over just general common interests, then finds out, oh, you do this for a living? Oh, I'm kind of into that, you know? So anything that connects you with someone, those people also are probably doing something for a living, unless they're independently wealthy, and in which case you would want to connect with them anyway. So that's a joke.
But success leaves clues. If that's what you want, go and find people who are successful at it and go and share ideas with each other. Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay. How should one stay in touch or follow up? Once someone of your interest is added to their network, once someone of your interest has been added to your network, how can you share some ideas on how to build that relationship further?
Good question. So let's take the example I used of reaching out on LinkedIn. You know, I love how much value you're giving. Thank you so much for sharing this value. I'd love to formally connect with you. And then it's having that, it's keeping in contact, whether it's a snail mail. I love snail mail. Anyone else out there love snail mail? I for those millennials who are thinking, what's snail mail? It's actually getting something from the postal service and a simple card. You know, thanks for connecting today. That was really great. I got sent I get sent, because I'm very vocal about that, I actually get sent some really, really nice things. I've been sent a tea bag because somebody knew that I liked a London fog, so they sent me an Earl Grey tea bag. Like, how cool's that? When you see things, so let's say, for example, Angela, you've expressed an interest in A, B, and C, and
Right.
I've recognized that, and all of a sudden I see a great newsletter come into my email feed about that, and I think, ooh, and I'll share, hey, Angela, I saw this really great article. I know that this particular topic interests you. I thought you might like it. But that's the reciprocity. That's the keeping in contact. You're not just like, oh, hey, give a wave or a poke like you do on Facebook, right? It's, if there's nothing to build with, then you're not going to want to build it. Are you actively being able to give them value? Every time you see value, you think, oh, that reminds me of my friend Jackie. I'm going to send that to Jackie, right? Yeah. That's the building the relationship further and having an awareness of them. So if it is on LinkedIn, actively spending time. I spend the first 10 minutes of every day and I go through LinkedIn and I look for great articles of learning and all sorts of other wonderful things that LinkedIn has on there that people are sharing. And then I'll go and share it with somebody over the messenger chat, or I'll say, this is really great, Angela, thanks for sharing, or whatever it is. Just keep in contact, just like you would do in normal friendship. You check in with them. Hey, how's things? I've not heard from you for a while. How's business? How's life? Let's have a catch up. I'd love to hear what's new for you. Let me tell you what's new for me as well, right?
I think what I really like about that too is it's bringing back that through line of starting from a place of what can you give and appreciating where they're at, what their interests are. And so you're coming from that place. And if you keep that top of mind, then you're going to find things that remind you of them or that you can continue to bring value for them. And then you just share those with them as they come up.
Right.
Yeah. What do you struggle with in cultivating your circle?
Oh, that's a good question. What do I struggle with? I personally have to do more audits on my circle.
Oh.
Right. Just as like you do with your goals. Let's just have a bit of a check-in with myself. I'm very lucky. I have a really great journal. And in it, it has like check-ins at the bottom of each month. But sometimes I'll be like, oh, I'll do that next week. I'll do that Tuesday. So what I struggle with is, okay, you know what? I just need to do a bit of an audit. I'm really missing this right now. I'm missing people to inspire me. I'm missing people who have this kind of knowledge. Okay, let me go and actively seek them. It's like any relationship. If you just get complacent, right, then it just stays where it is, right? It's like a marriage.
Yeah. Well,
it's just going to stay where it is. You're just going to keep doing the dishes at 6 o'clock and eating the same old food, doing the same thing on a Saturday night. But you want to spice things up and go, well, hang on a second. Let's not have this takeaway. Let's instead do this. And just do an audit every so often, because I know I struggle with that. So that's you guys can hold me accountable.
Okay? You have to Marie Kondo your Marie Kondo your list. Does this person bring me joy, spark joy for me? No.
Right.
Yeah, and then should I get out? Yeah. That's great. Okay, so we've got time for one more.
Ooh, how do you pick?
Let's see. How do you best approach someone if you're eventually hoping to get them on a sales call? Would you consider that part of building your professional circle?
Yes and no.
Okay.
So it depends on your intentions. So I'm in a professional circle of, I'm in a business professional association where our intention is to refer business to each other and learn from each other. So yes, like they would jump on a sales call with me. So if somebody new joins the group, they're going to want to know what I do and how I can help them or help their network. So yes, I would join on a sales call. So if that's your intention, you're going to want to find associations or even build your own association of people who are mutually referring to each other.
Yeah. That's not a bad idea. I like that. Quickly, these other two, how do you maintain valuable connections with your circle if you're far away from one another?
Again, utilize Zoom, utilize Facebook video. There's no excuse anymore. Yeah.
Yeah. You've talked about this, maintaining relationships. I think what you're saying is you have to constantly be auditing. Just don't let it get too big, and then you can be really conscious about how you're doing it. So
don't dilute your circle. Get the right people in there for the right reasons. Absolutely.
Quality, not quantity, is what we keep hearing Ella say. Yeah, I love that. Well, I can't thank you enough, Ella. I feel like this has been such a lively discussion. You're so full of life, so full of energy. I am so grateful to call you part of my professional circle.
Oh, my pleasure. You also, Angela.
And I'm hopeful that that everyone who's been in attendance today has learned how to ensure that they're cultivating one, they're building one, they're even noticing if they're in the wrong one and what to do.
Right.
Starting today if they find themselves there. Is there any last words you'd like to give our attendees before we break for today?
Remember, you're not an island, right? Success leaves clues. There's some amazing people who would just love to share with you. Just reach out, be authentically you, and reach out to these people and start building. Yeah.
Thanks so much, Ella. So really quickly, guys, if you want Ella to be part of your professional circle, we're going to send out a link to this recording, a link to the report, so you can add both me and Ella into your professional circle. Once you get that email, we'll connect you with everybody. And the other thing I want to invite you to right after this, if you'd like to learn more about Thoughtexchange, our very own Kat Allen will be here for the next 15 minutes. Amelia is going to post a link if you'd like to talk to her more about the platform. Otherwise, we'll see you on our next Innovative Women in Leadership virtual event series. Thanks again, Ella. We appreciate it so much.
My pleasure. Thanks. Bye, everybody.